It's a world full of obstacles. A disaster befell us. And this disaster is unprecedented. Original. A few years ago, a demon's tower rose from the ground. A large army of demons emerged from it. Humans take these sudden unknowns. Call it disaster. To exterminate these massive behemoths. Humanity's first large-scale animal network nuclear weapons. But for these disasters, huge nuclear weapons, but it's just a fireworks show. They were dancing, while wantonly destroying the city. For these behemoths, humans seem so insignificant. All hope has been dashed. However, just then, there they are. These people are the 12 Holy See. They have the power of the gods. Chosen by God, 12 human beings were each endowed with some kind of ability by God. Above the disaster. And this one in front of you is an exception. He was the 13th saint not chosen by God. This person is the male protagonist, Li Jian. His power is unmatched by the 12 saints. In order to destroy the boss of the disaster, the Red Eye, a group of us gathered at the location of the monster. The male protagonist led 12 saints into the tower, raided the Devil's Tower together. However, Li Jian did not know this battle is a deadly battle. This man is alone. Kill the strongest boss, the Eye of Color. However, this battle also exhausted his stamina. Wounds all over the body. And he lost an arm. But when he was at his weakest, attacked by teammates behind, a dagger went through his back. Li Jian couldn't believe it. The people who gave all their protection were ruthlessly obliterated by them. And fall into a trap that is absolutely impossible to escape. There are countless monsters here. He's already missing his left hand. I can't feel my right hand. Why don't you just wait to die? There's nothing left to miss. Just then, he struggled to grab the dagger that had fallen to the side. Bite it in your mouth. Pick up the long knife under your feet, he said angrily. What a joke. How could I have just given up? Until the last moment, I will never give up so easily. Before destroying those little quacks that attacked me, I will never fall here. Just wait for me. That's all. He swallowed the sadness of reading alone. His name is Li Jian. Beheaded the boss of the Devil's Tower alone. Red Eye. When he was at his weakest after the battle. But was framed by his own companions into a trap full of monsters. I thought it would end like this. But the hand reaches out to the long knife at the foot. Said angrily that it ended like this. Is it really the result I want? I am not reconciled. Before destroying those little quacks that framed me, how could I possibly end up here? You all wait for me. That's all. He dragged his broken body. Rush into the endless darkness. And outside at this time, these 12 saints who escaped from the Devil's Tower, being interviewed. How did the 13 of you who went in come out? 12 people. How is Li Jian from Country H now? The saint interviewed, upon hearing Li Jian's name, shuddered slightly, thinking about how to hide from these people. After a minute of hesitation, finally he said loudly, Li Jian, he to save humanity. Choose to sacrifice your life. And I started crying on stage. Of course it's fake. Beneath his sorrowful exterior. But I smiled inside. The night before we left, God works. Saint Oates finds Li Jian. Said to Li Jian with a serious face, you won't make it out alive tomorrow. Devil's Tower? But Li Jian didn't care. How does you guy? Why do you always think of me as dying? Oh, I know. Is it because I ate 2 more chicken thighs? Oates was speechless by this sentence. My name is Oates, not called Oathouse. And that's not the point, okay? It certainly is. Li Jian interjected. I understand your intention, but I won't die tomorrow. I have killed countless disasters, more than the total number of your 12 saints killed. Do you think I would die so easily? In fact, Oates is also very complicated inside. I don't know how to end this with you, because he's not worried about evil. It's about hearts. This is a tower housing countless monsters. The monster inside, powerful enough to destroy all mankind. It all started on the last day of the 20th century. Devil's Tower rises from the ground. The world will not be at peace in the beginning. This sudden disaster has an overwhelming killing and plunge humanity into endless despair, living in fear and chaos every day. There's nothing we can do about it. Just then, 12 with a human appearance, a man who claims to be a god appears before humanity. They want to give humanity the power to resist this disaster. Select 12 awakened from among all humanity to inherit this powerful force. But what was unexpected was a person who has not received any gifts. The 13th awakened has appeared, and the power of the awakened, far more powerful than 12 saints. You ask who this person is. That was me, Lord Li Jian, because I'm here. Every time you conquer the Devil's Tower, it will go well. Of course, this also requires conditions. 5 years of free fried chicken rolls from Otas will do. Can't you get tired of eating? And how many times have I told you? My name is not Oda. My name is Oates. I'm so angry. A saint and a fat man next to him said, this time, if we beat the Red Knight, should get a lot of pay. The fat man looks lewd, replied that it was the most terrible disaster. If we can get rid of him this time, at least 500 million. Start asking. That's when I interjected to say that this time the reward. Just use the 7-star hotel in the lower islands. 10 years of use rights to offset it. After all, because of this red eye, bringing countries to the brink of bankruptcy. I'm not finished yet. The fat man opened his mouth. Li Jia, you also have to get paid enough by the state to be able to trade. That's how to fix your handsome face. And the body, in the face of ridicule, I don't care at all. But he claims to be a saint. Greed never ends. A bunch of bastards who just fill their pockets. The more casualties, the happier they are. Wait until the red eye is wiped out. Just cut off from them completely. As you go deeper, the cliffs in the cave are also increasing in number, with the hustle and bustle of breathing. At this moment, the saint saw a figure. I can't help but swallow. The heart has begun to panic, because this is what they have seen. The largest and most powerful monster. The leader of the Devil's Tower, Red Shadow. Just stand here. You can feel the powerful oppression of this monster. And the red eye sees the appearance of the saints. Angry, let out a whoop. The whole mountain began to shake violently. The ground begins to crumble. A flame burst out under everyone's feet. As the ground cracks, this fire is getting bigger and bigger. Straight into the sky, just for a moment. The saints are swallowed. It hasn't really started yet. 12 holy people. He was already trembling with fear from this momentum. A sea of fire under my feet. From a distance, the boss is still sitting there. The soul remains unchanged, looking at the crowd, eyes full of sarcasm. And these 12 saints now have only one villain in their head. That is to run. Are you kidding? How could this thing possibly beat? If you don't run, you have to die here. How can these guys be called saints? Whatever. Anyway, it can destroy the red eye. Only me. Sir Sword. Li Jian jumped. Run towards this monster. This is the most terrifying and selfless monster in the Devil's Tower. And he's awakened. In front of him, I can only tremble in despair. At this moment, there is only one word in their head. That is to run away. And just then, a man steps forward. He was in charge. Wang Fumo's momentum slashed towards the leopard's head. It was hard to eradicate the terrible disaster, but he didn't expect him to be betrayed by his companion behind him and was thrown into a trap of countless disasters. And this game of destiny is just getting started. Time flies. 20 years later, in a dark cave, a man full of scars stands in front of the last little monster. At this time, the little monster was already trembling with fright, because standing in front of him, it was Li Jian who fell to the bottom of this cliff 20 years ago. These 20 years, his hatred of the 12 saints never lessened. With tenacious perseverance, the belief in revenge is hard to hold. It keeps going up. This is a continuous stream of the special trap of replicating evil, countless hacks, in exchange for countless disasters, but he never gave up hope of getting out. You all wait for me. When I'm out, I will find you. Kill you scumbags to pieces. Back to now. This is the last little monster left. Staring in front of me in complete disbelief. This man was terrified. Except for calling for help. Other method. But Li Jian told him a cruel truth. You are the last one. Then his 70-yard foot stepped on it. The last little monster was wiped out. It's finally over. Can you go out? Then the cave began to collapse. Li Jian's tired body always fainted. And outside the Devil's Tower at this time, 2 teenagers are running desperately because they encountered a group of high-level disasters. One of the teenagers said with a sobbing voice, "That's it. I also found a fortune teller today. He said I would meet an unstoppable monster today." Really accurate. I will definitely give them the big mouth when I go back. But how can 2 feet run more than 4 legs? A calamity crocodile knocks 2 people down with 1 jump. The random duo is surrounded by monsters. The boy murmured, "If only I had greeted my lord, if not trapped in the Devil's Tower. Such a little guy." And the voice just fell. The Devil's Tower next to it shook violently. Even more confused among the 2 teenagers. All I heard was a huge explosion. Devil's Tower dies in place. The intense impact made it impossible for the 2 to open their eyes. What's up with such a loud explosion? After a long time, the smoke clears. They just got over it. This is one of the teenagers. Found that there seemed to be a human under the ruins, and the Devil's Tower that originally stood here. It disappears. His name is Li Yinyan. Beheaded the leader of the Devil's Tower 20 years ago. Seriously injured. When he was at his weakest, he was betrayed by his companions. Cast into the darkness. Now he rushes out of the Devil's Tower. So the game begins. How dare you attack me? And threw me into a trap. These scum. You're Doomsday Island. And the first thing Li Jian did when he left the tower, just get rid of this little trash in front of you. 1 punch. They chased away the husky who had just chased the boy, and 1 foot into the ground. The 2 teenagers exclaimed, "This orange disaster." But even advanced awakened people have a hard time dealing with it. But for this man, like pinching an ant to death. The next moment, the man found them. A flash disappeared from their eyes. A heavy kick fell in front of them both. The 2 were so frightened that their souls flew away. Li Jian took a closer look, only to find out that they are human. And a teenager was very excited. Tell your partner. This person seems to have come out of the tower. If this is reported, must be a big headline. Suddenly, it was dark around the three of them. It turned out that a giant cowherd appeared in front of them. Teenagers burst into tears because this demon wolf is the leader of the wolf district. This one is much more ferocious than the previous ones, shouting, "Big brother, run away." But Li Ji's heart was unmoved. It even feels a little boring. At this time, the demon wolf's eyes glowed red, killing intent. Suddenly, a huge heat wave shot out of his mouth, heading towards the three. The two teenagers have given up hope. After a loud explosion, the two find themselves still alive. When you open your eyes and look ahead, shocked. This man actually blocked this terrifying blow, and still standing in front of them intact. But Li Jian is angry. "You fucking dog. Local dogs should have local dogs. Look like sit down for me." This punch goes down. The demon wolf quaked, lying on the ground motionless. Another perfect landing. Awesome, that's it. The two teenagers are even more confused in the confusion. After Li Jian solved all the wooden houses, suddenly he said, "You two." The two were instantly terrified, shouting. Li Jian slowly turned his head and said a word. The two were already trembling with fear. "Give what?" "A change of style. You're smiling. Buy me a meal." Yeah. "And clothes." This man just accidentally looked in the mirror. I was scared by the person in the mirror, because all the scars on my body are gone and returned to the way it used to be. Here's the thing. The man just came out of the tower, helped two teenagers solve a few cute puppies. In return for saving my life, two teenagers did the thing they regret the most in their lives. That is to invite this man to dinner. Just now, he ate 120 meals, and he said that the boy has no money. Self-restraint. Just have one more shin ramen at the end. It's not easy to stop anyway. So the boy asked about the origin of Li Jian. "Brother, what do you do? Why was it near the tower at that time? Are you a saint or a leader?" Li Jian replied, "I came out of the tower." The boy heard that Li Jian came out of the tower, even more confused. I was about to ask something more. He was asked by Li Jian, "You seem like a normal person. Why can I feel the magic in you?" Then his companion next to him said, "That's because he's a saint." "Are you not graced by the Holy Spirit? Awakened as a saint?" Li Jian said excitedly with a spoon in his hand. "Holy shit! Why should I serve those guys?" Finish. The famous scene has arrived, Li Jianwu. I caught a glimpse of the reflection in the spoon and stopped. I didn't really get it at first. Suddenly, startled. "Good guy. Who is this handsome guy?" Immediately shout mirror. "Where is the mirror? Come to the mirror." Li Jian immediately took off his shirt. "Exactly. This is my original body. All the scars are gone. Because of the special power in my body, all the damage done is gone." So, the arm that was broken before also grew back. And why is there a pattern on this palm? Suddenly, Li Chen's arm was in severe pain. She let out a loud roar. System voices rang out in his mind. "You have completed the impossible. The original ability value will be transferred to the new body. All the achievements achieved in the tower will be converted into experience points. Throne skill generated. You can use Afiyuka's powers now." Li Jian listened to the voice in his head, slowly closed his eyes. When I opened my eyes again, a giant snake appeared in front of him. The behemoth was also taken aback by this. Li Jian reached out to touch him. When Li Jian touched him, Space explodes with intense light. Then he suddenly woke up. Consciousness has not yet come from what you have just seen. React. The teenager next to him came over and asked Big Brother, "Are you alright?" Li Jian asked the two teenagers next to him, "Did you just see? A giant snake. Hands are still scratching. But it doesn't matter." The teenager next to the stroke said his tongue didn't see it. "I saw you in front of the mirror, Big Brother. Hold your hand." Yelling out there. Screaming and jumping. It was a pretty humiliating scene. The two teenagers are still thinking, is this Big Brother really abnormal? But then the voice was in my head again. The sea rang. "You have become the master of Ophiuchos, Shua." Various panels appeared in front of him one after another. "Your body has been regenerated. Will receive light punishment." The punishment is a 50% reduction in physical ability. Remaining time 1,032 hours. Only then did Li Jian understand. The body recovers because of this super regenerative reason. But he was never with any other saints, heard of such a thing existing. And there is absolutely no power of the Holy Spirit here. Anyway, the body has recovered. It's not a bad thing at all. Then the remaining thing is find out who betrayed me. The thought of taking care of these guys and the bastard who attacked me. Think of this. I'm so excited. 20 years ago, a demon's tower has appeared in this city. There are countless disasters here. During these 20 years, there are countless disasters that have escaped from here. And just today, the Devil's Tower, as hard as iron, collapsed. In a building at this time, a press conference on the collapse of the Devil's Tower. Two adults. What do you think of the collapse of the Devil's Tower? Do you think Lord Li Jian is still alive? This is Aries Saint Yang Wei. He is now suppressing wood inside. After a long sigh, he said about this, "I have no comment." Then they evacuated the venue. Li Jian. Today is the first time. Is Li Jian still alive? He can stay in that tower for 20 years. Absolutely impossible. There were thousands of them in that tower. And it's all black. We could sneak out the red eye back then. It's already a miracle. How could he possibly survive in that situation? And it's been 20 years. His body was on the verge of collapse. What's more, he's not the guy who is protected by the Holy Spirit. If he is still alive, by then it will be all over. But what he didn't know was Li Jian at this time, already picking his first target. Time back to the present. This is Li Jian's good brother named Oates. Is a saint of God's work. Right now he's on his way to talk to the head of state. In the car, he thought of Li Jian again. Because he prophesied. Li Jian will fall in the Devil's Tower. I also asked Li Jian about this. Advise him to be careful, because he was entrusted by Li Jian at that time. Come out of the tower and destroy the evil outside. I pray in my heart that the prophecy will never come true. Li Jian, are you going to come back alive? Wait until the battle is over. He did not see Li Jian's figure. Because of the guys who entered the tower with Li Jian. Abandoned him. However, what Oates did not know was that these guys didn't just desert him. Someone else attacked him when he was at his weakest. Bring back all the spoils alone, including the boss's phone. Credit this time. Let the reputation of 12 saints, including Otis, rise high. Hailed as a hero by all mankind. Acquire higher rights. But he still couldn't believe the news of Li Jian's death. I have also wanted to find Li Jian countless times. But the other saints did not believe that Li Jian was still alive at all. I even resented his behavior, and also mocked that he could find others by himself. But by then, 12 saints will become 11 saints. Go back 20 years. Oates has let go. You're right. No matter how strong Li Jian is, it is impossible to come back alive. What's more, it's been so many years. Then the driver reminded the Prime Minister to call. Oates took the call and said lightly, "What's the matter?" It turns out that the Prime Minister has heard of evil. The tower collapsed. He wanted Oates to try again. "Can you find the parts?" Oates said sorry and rejected him. It's already chilling, because he's been looking for it for so many years, this collapse. It must have been done by Li Jian's followers. Oates thought, the Prime Minister is going to use this to help him win votes. But the Prime Minister's next words gave him a jolt. A message just came from the government of country. Just now, that line is ringing. At this time, Oates could no longer sit still. Excitedly asked what line rang again. It's Li Jian's dedicated direct phone line. Li Jian's dedicated direct telephone line. Yes, that's right. This is a guy called Oates. This is what you think of Oates as. Here's another one. Just now, Oates learned from his conversation with the Prime Minister. Li Jian's exclusive call line is ringing. Did the phone keep ringing just now? It's Li Jian calling. Now Oates picks up the phone with trembling hands. It shows 30 missed calls. One more voicemail. He slowly tapped towards the screen. At this moment, his heart was extremely tense. It was a voice he was very familiar with. "I will find you. Then I will kill you." He was so scared that he froze. Exactly. This tone is exactly the same as Li Jian's. And he has mixed feelings. Don't want to pay attention to anything. Immediately tell the driver to turn around and go back to the airport immediately. The screen is given to Li Jia. Oates didn't answer his call. It made him very upset. But soon he was attracted by the smartphone. Because he has been Static Tower for 20 years now. Many things are new to him. The teenager next to him also exclaimed, "Oh my God. Have you never used a smartphone?" And remind, this mobile phone can also watch news online. Li Jian asked when he heard the word news. "This thing, can you watch the news about Li Jian?" The boy quickly helped him out. Because the news about Li Jian is very hot now. But after Li Jian saw the message above, make him very hot. Who said Leo wiped out the red eye? These stupid trash. Everyone fled because of fear. A bunch of cowards. Except it wasn't what made him the angriest. Just swipes to the following hot search. It's about Li Jian's will. At first, he decided, if he dies, donate all your property to the orphanage. With the Scholarship Foundation. The finger crossed and clicked in. Yes, except for being a saint. The other saints divided up all his possessions. This crushed his wife's phone. He's going to kill everyone. Even the Holy Spirit will be executed. Teenager at this time. I can only stare at his beloved mobile phone. Stay away from him. After Li Jian calmed down, thinking about how different he looks now is from 20 years ago. If you tell them directly that he is Li Jian, I guess it will be regarded as a psychopath. And just then, a red mist was hovering above them. The voice in his head also reminded, someone is watching you. Li Jian also felt this breath. He went out in his slippers. The streets are full of alpacas floating in mid-air. These are Ares-like dogs of the gods. Li Jian didn't get angry when he saw these things. Clench your fists when you're ready to smash these things. I heard Li Jian calling Li Jian behind me. Talk to episode. Li Jian and two teenagers are having dinner at a restaurant, and Ares belongs to God. Tributes are being searched everywhere at this time. Li Jian looked at these things and got angry. The hand that was about to smash them all into slag. I heard as if someone was calling him. Looked back. Two people walked over. I'm talking about today's news that dominates the screen. Both are Gemini saints. And Li Jian just blocked their way. The boy saw a saint who was a Gemini. Also nervous? He called Li Jian to come back soon. These guys are not to be messed with. But the man opposite said arrogantly, "What are you looking at? Go away." Now the boy is also confused. The man looked at Li Jian standing there motionless. A mouthful of cigarette pounced on Li Jian's face. "Why are you dissatisfied?" Unsatisfied with the tile. Stupid, even the woman next to him mocks Brother Dao. "Brother, let's go." You see, this guy is about to pee. Former boss, to be humiliated by a little guy pressing his head like this. But these Li Jian endured it. The teenager is still echoing Big Brother Dao. Patience is right. They are Gemini A-level and above saints. But he didn't expect the next sentence to make him intolerable. When the man leaves, selected a sentence. Only idiots. I like the lowest saint like Li Jian. This sentence directly made Li Jian endure his arrogance. It just exploded. He shouted hello to the two people opposite him. The two cockroaches in front. When the two heard the words, they thought they had heard it wrong. Li Jian rubbed his fist. Again, clearly. I'm talking about you two cockroaches. The man strode directly to Lai Fitness. Say you have the guts to say it again. A scum with no magic power. How dare you mock him? I'm not finished yet. It was directly flew out by Li Jian's middle finger. Both teenagers were dumbfounded. At this time, Li Jian murmured, "Hello. Do you think I don't know if you sneak attack me from behind?" It turns out that the woman is a deep water. It has already arrived behind Li Jian. The woman was also shocked when she heard Li Jian's words. Li Jian turned his head and popped out a middle finger again. Just fly him directly to the opposite wall. Puffs of smoke. Li Jian mocked that this is really vulnerable. At this time, the teenager behind him also reminded Li Jian. It is said that the main road cannot use the ability at will, but Li Jian shouted that he was wronged if he uses his ability. They already dared. As soon as this sentence comes out, the two teenagers were even more shocked into a cold sweat. This is an Egyptian saint. No ability. Beat them up like this with your bare hands. At this moment, Li Jian's attention, but put it on the Gemini who just passed out. He was deep in his mouth. Rip off a pendant. Li Jian always felt weird when he hit him just now. It was because of this thing. Is this a relic? Isn't this kind of thing only available to saints? The teenager next to him explained after hearing it, decades ago, because of the appearance of evil, humanity is on the verge of extinction. If it weren't for the fact that 12 humans were chosen by the Holy Spirit, become a saint, to survive. But the world is so big, just relying on 12 saints. There's no way to protect them all. So the saints organized human beings to follow them, establish the holy order, and they have access to the power of saints. People who gain strength are also called saints. According to the magnitude of the force, Santo is also divided into different levels. The highest rank is the saint chosen by the Holy Spirit. Then came the eclipse. That is the consequence of the saints of the lower realm, and titles under 10 saints. Level saints, such as S-level saints, B-level saints, and the last C-level saints. And the power of the Holy Spirit, from the power of faith of the saints, to attract humanity into the holy order. They compete in all sorts of ways. And the chosen saints, the Holy Spirit will also bestow upon them. The last episode said, the former boss was humiliated by a little guy pressing his head. Of course, this little guy didn't end up that well in the end. But at least Li Jian gave this man a break. A lot has changed in 20 years. The 12 saints have also developed into the current 12 holy groups. And just then, The teenager next to him, called Lai Jian, quickly looked behind him. It's the boxing body that just appeared. These alpacas are surrounding Li Jian. They were very interested in Li Jian's battle just now. The wealth and greed of Ares. It's all God's favorite. They want you to get rid of the couple. They crave bloody joy. I love seeing blood. If you take out those two saints, they will give you some useful possessions. They are the shadows of the Holy Spirit. If you become enemies with them, it's against the Holy Spirit. The teenager behind him was also frightened by the battle. Lian Wang told Li Jian to do as they said. And Li Jian doesn't believe in these bullshit holy spirits. Li Jian was still thinking, what are these impotent bastards doing here? Looks like a spider. I want to fill my stomach. Lei Jin is not used to these things. Slowly lift his left foot. Then suddenly one foot hits the ground. The whole ground just burst open. Light waves erupted around. And these flocks belong to the gods. When I first came into contact with these light waves, it's starting to fade away. They were instantly shattered by Li Jian's kick. I don't like this greedy guy the most. The real dog is powerful. It's nothing. The boy swallowed his saliva, thinking that this big brother is definitely not an ordinary boss. This is what Li Jian calls the teenager Han Zimin. This fat guy is a Gemini. Happiness dialogue. The boy replied, yes, Gemini is the most powerful group in the country. Their teams are mostly political and business. Capital, everyone. Li Jian asked, then they must be very rich. The things they wear must be expensive, too. Hey. Just like this, under the confused eyes of the two teenagers, Li Jian humming a ditty, start licking bags like crazy. Just one day, Li Jian also insists that you have no place to sleep. I also have to have a sleep mentality to send the two teenagers home. And the boy doesn't know yet. It has been sent high by Li Jian. He pointed to the second floor and introduced, brother, I live here. The room on the second floor with the lights off. Another teenager said, I live in the neighborhood next door. Li Jian is also perfunctory. The boy is also very grateful to Li Jian for his life-saving grace and pushed him home. The boy waited for a long time and did not reply. Little did I know that Li Jian woke up. It's almost time to go in. Let's go. I'm sleepy. Do you know how powerful it is to stomp your feet? The man stepped to the ground with one foot. The whole ground shattered. An airbag soars into the sky. Just now, a group of greedy Quanshu mountains surrounded Li Jian. Let Li Jian kill the fat man just now. If you don't do as they say, is to be their enemy? And they know the shadowy presence of the Holy Spirit. To be against them is to be against the Holy Spirit. If this happened to someone else, we'll definitely do as they say. Just in time for the events they encountered. He's the guy who doesn't like these dogs. Just smash these rights with one kick. Afterwards, Li Jian sent the two teenagers home. Euphemistically called waiting for them to go home. In fact, I am sleepy. I want to go to sleep at a teenager's house. After entering Han Zimin's house, Li Jian quickly took off his shirt. Then start trimming your hair. Well, the whole person looks a lot more delicate. Facing the praise of teenagers, this 150 kilograms man is also starting to be shy. Li Jian was very happy inside. After all, he once lost his hair due to special abilities, not far from the Mediterranean. But it was a blessing in disguise. Suddenly, Li Jian found a disaster. Move like a mosquito, but much bigger than those mosquitoes. And there's more than one. These disasters still revolve around Li Jian. Han Ziming also feels a little strange, because I've never seen anything like this before. Hearing this, Li Jian began to look around the room, because it's definitely not his fault. Sure enough. Li Jian saw some neatly arranged ones in the corner. These things are vicious. Put them at home. It will definitely attract those disasters. And Yang Jie, yes. These were given by Saint Gemini himself. Can't be vicious? The one in the distance also picked up a statue next to it. Although these things are not mine. But these are all holy objects that have been kissed by the saint himself. Not finished. I just heard a snap. The statue was directly split in half. Li Jing waved her hand, a look of disgust. Han Zimin is so scared that he stands in place. After all, this thing is not his. Then Li Jian picked up another mask, said this thing was a holy relic used to spy on buyers. None of these good things in your house. This steals personal privacy. This is summoning disaster. At this time, Li Jian was already furious. These bastards. Not only did they divide up all my property and sell these evil things to dilute human hard-earned money. Thinking of these, Li Jian, I want to find them now. Just at this moment, a man pushes the door in. I happen to see Li Jian with something in his hand ready to smash it. Li Jian asked doubtfully, "Who are you?" His name is Shang Tsai. It turns out that he is the owner of this house. This is the Ares Temple. It is the residence of the 12 Saint Yang Wei. At this moment, Yang Wei was sweating profusely. His heart is like his name now. Because just now, his subordinates reported that the ownership of a country is gone. Everything is gone. God is the direct subordinate of the saints, awakened, but there is no power to drive them away. Who did this? He immediately ordered his men to contact the other saints. See if there are any clues about this. The subordinate said again that there is one more thing that God works for. The saints still can't be contacted. The girls thought he was going to a foreign country as a mercenary. But there is a group of adults under his command. As soon as he arrived in the Krush country, he immediately went abroad. Destination. Here. Yang Mei couldn't help but be surprised. Because of the previous collapse of the Devil's Tower. Make a storm in the city. There is also a rumor that Li Jian will come out. If that guy is Li Jian's best friend again? So much of what happened made him wonder. Is that guy really still alive? So much for that. Yang Wei felt a little flustered inside. Asked again if there is any other news that has not been reported. The subordinate was yelled at by this. He also hurriedly said that the place where the power god disappeared also found 2 Gemini saints. Was knocked out nearby. And except for underwear, everything else on his body and clothes were taken away. It is said that it was a conflict with a handsome young man. As soon as I heard it was done by a handsome young man, the dangling heart fell. That guy's whole face is ruined. It shouldn't be him. Still, he was a little worried. After all, so much has happened during this time. Some time ago, all my belonging to God disappeared inexplicably. Even failed to attack the Ant Queen before. But go on like this. Impotence is dangerous. Think about these impotents. Ask your subordinates to prepare a special plane immediately. He personally went to the matchmaker to investigate the situation. This is a Gemini hospital. Gemini believers injured by Li Jian. Receiving treatment. An old man, very excitedly, asked the young man next to him, who beat his grandson like this? This person is a Gemini saint, the president of the S-level scenic spot. Please rest assured, I was sent by Saint Dong to investigate this matter. The picture returns to Li Jian here, about everything that happened to Min today. Tell the referee who just came back. What hand is torn? I have been defeating the first-level saint god. And the saints don't believe in this at all. It's only a TV drama. Not to mention, Li Jian also broke all the beasts in his collection. Shang Tsai suppresses anger. Ask which holy group Li Jian belongs to, which holy spirit is served, and what type is awakened. Li Jian laughed and said that I still need to belong. Except for those 12 junk. Myself. Type B manufacturing class. Shang is the more you listen, the more angry you become. The last question was asked. So what's your name? My name is Lai Jian. This angry teenager is called Shang Kai. I used to see myself like, it should be a bird like a human. 2 blushes that should have appeared on the cheeks are also twisted. Here's the thing. Li Jian followed Han Zimin home to rub the tree. and made a mess in the house. And it just so happened that the owner of this room came back and it was Sheng Kai. He suppressed his anger. Asked Li Jian which holy group he belongs to. What's your name? And when Li Jian said his name, the sage's impulse to want a swordsman can no longer be suppressed, because he doesn't know at the moment. Standing in front of him is the very saint he has always followed. Inexplicably broke into my house. He also smashed all the sacred objects in my collection. Dare to pretend to be Lord Li Jian. I think you are tired of living. Because Sheng Tsai is a loyal fan of Li Jian. Li Jian looks like now, compared to the previous self, totally two people. That's why Sheng didn't recognize it. Will not believe a man as young as himself. It will be the Lord Li Jian he believes in. The teenager next to him also broke out in a cold sweat at this time. Because he knows making money and being angry is very scary. The abundant magic is still coming out. A giant summoning beast slowly appeared behind him. Li Jian can't help but praise that it's good. You can summon advanced summoning beasts at a young age. Then open the eyes of God and observe. Tiansheng is a Gemini believer. Level of awakening. Awakening named the Punisher. Han Zimin next to him hurriedly shouted, Big brother, run, run. A saint is a genius first-level saint. And he is also Li Jian's fanatical confidant. The holy referee who broke out of magic also gave Li Jian a loyalty. Those who are knowledgeable roll right away. Otherwise, there will be no chance later. Just finished speaking. Li Jian had already slept behind Sheng Kai. Playing with fire during the day. I wet the bed at night. This moment of kung fu. Sheng Kai can't react. It was directly flew out by Li Jian's middle finger. Li Jian walked to the side and said to the boy, Yang, so angry. You want to tear down the whole building? Han Zimin was trembling and quickly asked his big brother. Sheng Kai won't hang up, will he? Li Jian said with a wicked smile, is it all right? Watching the holy treasure on the ground go very peacefully. The room that was questioned was also fine. Ready to go back to the room to rest, and told Han Zimin that he would wake up later. It's okay, I'll go to bed first. But when he opened the door to the room, stunned. Full house. A statue that actually interprets Li Jian's former appearance. Li Jian's face had turned black by now, because that's what he hates the most of. Han Zimin next to him immediately explained that he had said it before. Shen Sai is an avid fan of Li Jian, and Shang Tsai, who is on Semin, just woke up with a warning to Li Jian that the things inside cannot be moved. These things are more important than his life. And Li Jian ignores that. The next moment, he will directly break off the head of a model. The sage at this time not only has to suffer physical harm, it's emotionally grueling. It's really pitiful. And now he can only yell at Li Jian, Stop it, you jerk. Stupid? Li Jian replied with a smile, I'm not a fool. Call me Li Jian. The bowl is at this click. The painful screams of being left behind stopped abruptly. This is a guy called Oates, is a saint of God's work. He is also Li Jian's brother, because after finding out that Li Jian is still alive, drive nonstop to the car heard a news in the cafe. 2 Gemini Egyptian governments have suffered a terrorist attack. All his clothes and belongings were looted. This is what Lilian can do. What the hell is this guy doing? Just when Oates was wondering how to find Li Jian, a waiter came up and asked, Sir, what would you like to order? And Oates was furious when he saw the waiter say, Go away. Don't play tricks in front of me. It turned out that the waiter was possessed by impotence, because Yang Wei's subordinates have been unable to contact him. So Yang Wei used this method to find Oates. You hurried to a city. It must be for Li Jian. Why don't you tell me everything you know? Oates impatiently opened Yang Wei's hand and said, "You know why I hate you so much? It's your random possession of others. It makes me feel sick. What a pervert." Yang Wei also knows Oates' current attitude. Can't ask for any good information. The ability to relieve cognition, and those who have been controlled by this ability, memory loss for a short period of time. This hateful Yang Wei do something disgusting. Li Jian must be found before anyone else. They are also looking for Li Jian, definitely not a good thing. In your large shopping mall, Han Zimin said to Shen Kai, "That big brother can't really be Mr. Li Jian, right?" But the sage said firmly, "What a joke. They don't even look the same. How could it be Lord Li Jian? And Lord Li Jinyi is a great hero who saves humanity. How could he be a gangster like him? But you've also seen his power. Extraordinary. And I clearly saw. He came out of the Devil's Tower." No matter how Han Ziming explains it, no sanction would believe why so sure. Because his father once told him, has fallen in the Devil's Tower. I'm sure you've all guessed it. His father was God's work Saint Otas. Suddenly, they heard someone shouting a thief. The next second, they are knocked down by a shadow. Han Ziming also noticed, is one of the saints of Scorpio. He has abilities that even saints can't catch up to. Go on like this. People had to be stolen from the entire mall. Just when he was smugged. An accident happened. Li Jian suddenly appeared, put it down with an uppercut. The sudden punch left him in disbelief. Li Jian's punch was not so good. He fell directly to the ground, clutching his stomach and trembling. And this is when a man comes up. Tell Li Jian that you are very capable. A Scorpio saint is hard for ordinary people to catch him. This man, just before, Gemini sent to investigate the attack. Extreme Saint Unified Holy District. He saw Li Jian breathing frequently. Just remind me that when this happens in the future, leave it to a professional to handle it. And when Li Jian was still wondering who this kid was, the ground began to shake violently, and the people in the store thought it was a normal earthquake. They're all still standing there. Little do they know that a real danger is rapidly approaching.